there, welcome back to the Kitchen at Westminster 2022. This week, it's winter time and it is cold outside. Let's make chicken stew. The great thing about chicken stew is it's going to, like any stew, it's using up what you've got in your fridge. It's going to use up some potatoes, a little bit of frozen vegetables. It's really anything you've got can go in. I'm using chicken that I already cooked. That's it. I mean, this is a good to go meal. It's going to take about 40 minutes on the stove. I did all the prep off camera ahead of time. For those of you who don't know, Shannon volunteers her valuable time here to make these videos for us. And today she needed a little extra time, so I did the prep work off camera. I probably put about 20 minutes in. So if we're trying to keep track of, is this ready in an hour? I think it still is. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil into, you need a decent sized pot. You're making stew, so you think you want it to hold the whole thing. You don't want to start with switch pots. That would be a giant pain. Let's get some oil warming up on the stove. Just start it warming up. Right off the bat, I want to say, I don't just need to, I want to, no frills. No Frills donated the food this week, and what good buys they have. Holy mackerel. These sales go until Wednesday of next week, so that's the 12th of January, and really good buys. As we go through the things, I'll remember to tell you the prices on them. Celery and onions. I already had some celery going, so I didn't need to buy it, but it's probably about $2. 3-pound bag of onions is on sale this week for $1.88. You can't go wrong. Grab those while you can. I've cut up 1 onion, diced it pretty small, and 2 stalks of celery, diced up pretty small. I'm just going to put them in my pot with the oil, and away they go, just looking to soften them up. And you saw, save the environment, save yourself, use a plate to cover up a bowl. It's a great little method. I can hear that sizzling like crazy, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Get everything coated in oil. There, now it's going. All I want to do is soften that, so that's just going to go for 3, maybe 5 minutes. Nothing much to talk about there. Off camera, I cut up about 4 good-sized potatoes, and I cut them into, half-inch dice. I think if somebody wanted to pop the whole thing in their mouth, they can. That sort of thinking. And I cut the carrots into coins. So, and I kind of had in mind, and the recipe will tell you, about 4 cups worth of carrots. Carrots this week are on sale, $1.88 for a 3-pound bag. Can't go wrong. Potatoes, normal price. I don't think they were on sale this week. Right around $4 for a 10-pound bag of potatoes. Again, who are we kidding? You can't go wrong. Get those all cut up while you can and ahead of time. You could reasonably get all your veggies cut up in the morning before you go to work. Take about 20 minutes, get everything ready ahead of time. That's, basically what I did. Once these have got going a little bit, and they're already starting to, I cut them up nice and small, which is what you want. Okay? And then add a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of thyme. So I'm going to go about a ½ teaspoon of salt. I'll go about the same with pepper. And then go about a full teaspoon at least of thyme. And whatever kind of thyme you have, if you have fresh, by all means, put a little bit in there. But think about a teaspoon and just add it in. There we go. That's all done. There's our seasonings hooked under. This is super easy. Give it a little stir around. I'm loving it. And don't forget, this is going to keep cooking in the pot. We're not looking to cook the onions and celery. We're just softening them, just getting them a head start. We've got about 3 tablespoons of flour in here. I'm going to add it to the onion and celery, and that's going to get my thickening agent going. If later on we need to make more of a slurry to thicken the stew further, we will at the very end. For now, we're going to hope that this is going to get us going. Before I dump it in there, I'm going to make sure I've got my other things ready to go. I have from cooking my chicken, I boiled the bones and I have some nice chicken stock ready to go. I cooked this chicken in the crock pot, yes, last night, to get ready for today. Basically, it comes out, like you can see, I just tore this off the bones, okay? Like it was, you cook it in the crock pot. I do this a lot for lunch meat. Think of how nice these sandwiches are, right? Chickens this week at No Frills, $1.88 a pound for a whole chicken. Are you kidding me? Right, grab a few. I got this for $5. This is fantastic, right? $5, this is a lot of good chicken. And then you can boil the bones and get some nice broth at the same time. If you don't want to do that, you can get one of the Tetra packs of broth for $1 this week at No Frills. So we've got 4 cups of broth, 1 liter, ready to go. We've got about 4 cups of chicken. If you don't want to cook your own chicken, grab one of those rotisserie chickens at the hot deli counter in some grocery stores. You've got all you're going to need. You've got leftover chicken, go for it. Take off the skin. Don't let any skin get in. That's not going to be nice in your stew. Okay, meat only. And then we've got our veg. So I'm going to dump my flour in here on top of the onion and celery, and I'm just going to coat it, just sopping up that bit of oil that we've got in the pan, stirring it around. It smells lovely. There, brilliant. And now, I don't want to splash. I don't want to put my broth in first, because then when I dump the potatoes and stuff, it's going to splash up and hit me. So I'm not doing that. Now there's that. There's my potatoes. And the chicken. That is going to be a full pot. And we're going to scrape. Look at that, right? Are you kidding me? I kind of wish my pot was bigger. That's okay. I think I'm going to be okay. This spoon is not holding up well. I'm very disappointed. Can you see it bending? These are not what they used to be. Used to be, if you bought these things, they were as good. I'm never going to use this spoon again. I'm going to stomp right now and say, not again. I've got a wooden spoon. I know that's not going to do that to me. Now I'm going to add my broth. I don't know if you can hear that wonderful sizzle. I know I could have scraped that bit of fat off the top, and if you want to, you go right ahead. By chilling it, the fat rises to the top and you can just cut it right off. I kind of want the fat in there. There's not much fat in chicken, and I kind of want that little bit for flavor. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm just going to push this around and make sure that everything is coated and blended. It's a stew. We want it to mix together. And then all we're going to do is let this come to a boil. And Shannon, if you want to get a peek over here and just show them, I don't want too much liquid in here. I don't want it to boil dry. We'll look later. Basically, you can just see the liquid showing. Okay, just see it. You don't want to float it. We're not making soup, we're making stew. Okay, keep that in mind. It's stew, not soup. So, it's just covered. I want it to come to a boil, and then I'm going to put a lid on it so it doesn't simmer away on me. I don't want it to evaporate. Look at this. So, and look at this. This is basically next year's garden, right? This is the stew a year from now. We've got some beautiful things in there. That's coming back as more food. What a shame. I'm going to push that nice bit of onion off of there and save it. Too bad about that. Plastics just keep disappointing me. I don't know why I'm still trying. Wooden spoons. They're the way to go. And also they don't get hot. See, that's the other thing. At home I have a lot of stainless steel spoons that are fantastic, but they get hot. And then you grab a hold of them and ouch. This is going to come to a boil, and then it's already starting. I'm going to give it a little bit of extra help. Chicken, $1.88 a pound, honestly. I bought 3 for home. I mean, really? And honestly, trust me about the lunch meat thing. Beautiful lunch meat right there. We're just gonna let that go the way it is. It's gonna come to a boil. We're gonna put a lid on it, let it simmer for about half an hour. Basically, you're cooking your potatoes and carrots. Chicken's cooked, everything else is cooked. You're just cooking the potatoes and carrots. We're serving our beautiful stew with scones. Right? Because that's delicious. Let me clean some of these things up and then we'll come back and get our scones ready. Okay, let's get scones ready so that they're gonna go in the oven, everything's gonna be on the table at the same time. I have measured into the bowl 2 cups of flour, just all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and a good pinch of salt. I don't know what's a good pinch, half a teaspoon. Let's say half a teaspoon. You want salt. They're scones and we're not eating them as a dessert, we're eating them with our food. Now, all of that, give it a little stir, mix it up with a whisk, mix it with a fork, whatever, just blend it through. 6 tablespoons of butter. You know I've told you that a stick of butter is a half a cup. Half a cup is 8 tablespoons, okay? So cut 2 tablespoons off, now you've got 6. So it's easy. And then you just cut it, and then knock it in there, scrape it up, don't waste any of your precious butter. It's probably the most expensive thing in this meal, right? Is the butter. Who are we kidding? And isn't that a shame? Now, I've got this pastry cutter. If you don't, grab 2 knives and go ninja style, which is kind of fun too, because then you know you're a bit of a warrior in the kitchen. But I like this thing. I think I've used it before and talked about it. I like the nice wide bands. And then you're just doing this kind of thing, and you're cutting the butter in. So every time something says cut it in, this is what they want you to do. Okay, we're gonna keep going until we can't see big pieces of butter anymore. And just work it through every now and again, grab that knife and scrape it off. Because obviously it gets stuck in there. Make sure your butter's cold. Don't think to yourself, I'll just use warm butter and mix it in, it'll be easier. You'll be starting icing if you do that, okay? You're gonna have frosting going instead. It won't cut, it'll squish. And then it'll turn into a block for you. So, do this and then just keep going. We're just getting rid of any big pieces of butter, okay? Some things will tell you until it looks like oatmeal or whatever. Basically, get rid of the big pieces. There, I'm pretty happy. I don't see any giant pieces of butter, and that's gonna be good enough for me. And then, don't waste any, scrape it off, do what you can. Some of these come with a handy little tool that you can slide down and it pushes out the bits. That'll do. Now, we need milk and an egg. Scones are too easy, okay? So, 2/3 of a cup of milk, cream if you've got it, milk's fine. 1 egg, mix it all up. I'm just using a fork. If you've got a nice little whisk that you want to use, go for it. And before we blend it in, I've got about 2 tablespoons of chopped up chives here. I'm going to put them in. Depending on what you're doing, you can blend in 1/3 of a cup, 1/2 a cup of grated cheese if that's what you want to do. I really like cheese scones with tomato soup. That's like a family favorite. It goes without saying that if we're having tomato soup, that's the go. Just dump that in. Don't waste any. And if you didn't have chives or cheese, oh, that was loud, I'm really sorry. If you didn't have chives or cheese and you wanted to add something, you could put in, really anything. I mean, you could put a little bit of rosemary in. Think about the strength of the herb you're using and judge accordingly for how much you add. A little bit of rosemary would be nice. If you're having them for breakfast, like if you're doing a breakfast scone, a tiny bit of lavender, okay? Like just go with what feels right to you. A little bit of lemon zest, anything, okay? Just think about what you're serving it with and go from there. And then dump that in. And get rid of that. And then just blending, okay? You don't want to beat it up, you just want to get everything wet and the same. I got out this wooden spoon that's got just a little bit of a bowl. It will help when we go to knead it. We can use it to really scrape the sides of the bowl. If you have a sturdy spatula, that works. If your spatula is one of the soft ones, it's not so great because it'll just kind of fold like that plastic spoon was doing. So a wooden spoon with a flat edge or a heavy spatula. The heavy spatulas are kind of hard to find. They're a little tricky. So if you ever find one, get it, because also the soft ones, if you ever use them in something hot, they turn into like a fly swatter effect. Not ideal in the kitchen. Not what you're looking for. So you can see how that's just all come together. See how nice that is, right? Or easy peasy. There we go, and scrape that off. And you can see I've got, as always, the towel, a wet towel under my bowl. It's just holding it still. That's all it's there for, so that I don't have to hold onto my bowl with one hand so it doesn't run away on me. Now, we're going to knead just until it's smooth. I'm going to move this now because I want to be able to work. I kept a little bit of flour in here. Just going to, a little on my hand. Don't add much. Okay, people get carried away and they add so much, and that's like an ingredient then. Okay. Keep it just enough not to stick to you too much. It's going to stick a little. It's going to be all right. And just when you're kneading, you're folding and putting the outside to the inside every time. Okay? And just fold and crush. Fold and crush. Until it doesn't feel like it's sticking to you anymore. Once it's smooth and staying where it should, which is just into itself, then you're there. And if you do this, it comes off your hands pretty well. It's in your rings if you're still wearing them, which, you know, it's just what happens. It's they'll come off. Then when you wash the dishes, that's the beauty of washing the dishes in the sink. It cleans your jewelry. And there, that's pretty good. So you can see it's smooth. It's not sticking to me anymore. That's the sign. Some just hit me in the face. I'm hoping it's not on me. I see it on the floor, so that tells me that you're not watching this video with me with a blob of it on my face, because that would be really embarrassing. Sorry, that was loud. We can move that to the side. Shannon's trying not to laugh, but that was funny. This is the way it goes sometimes. Okay. If you have a sill mat that you can roll your dough out on, it's a cleaner business than putting it on the counter. But don't put too much. I mean, I probably put a couple of tablespoons there. And then don't fall for that trap where you lay it in the flour and then dump more flour on top of it. Right? Don't do that. That's adding ingredients. We put all the flour we wanted in there. Now at this point, you can pat it out to what you want, or you can roll it out. Sometimes it pats out just fine for me, and if that's going to be the case here, then that's what we'll do. I don't want to listen to those plates rattle, and I know you don't either. Basically, what I'm trying to get is a rectangle that is about 6 inches by 9 inches. So my sill mat at home is 9 inches wide, which gives me a really nice reference point. But I think I'll roll now to make it go a little bit faster for us. So I figure I'm probably pretty close to 6 inches wide now, so I just want to get a little bit longer. And we are going to make nice little cut scones. They look like restaurant stuff, like they look like a bit of a big deal. And they're not so homemade looking, like we use the biscuit cutter. And also the beauty of it is we don't need to have all the trimmings and re-roll the trimmings and all of that. We're just going to cut them. Easy, easy. And look at those chives, don't they look nice? Right? I'm already imagining a good pat of butter on there when they're warm, and it's going to be delicious. Because you will want to add butter when you serve them. Okay, that looks pretty good to me as a 6 by 9 rectangle. I feel pretty good about that. And I would say if you were judging, that's probably somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. We don't need to be exact. We want a rectangle is what we want. Look at my hands. Okay. Grab a knife. It doesn't need to be a really sharp one, especially if you're right on your counter. Okay. So cut in half on the short side so that you're imagining you've got Each side is about 3 inches wide. Now this is 9, so I'm going to cut it in 3, so I get 3-inch squares. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then that, and those look close enough to squares to suit me. And then cut them into triangles, and we're going to have 12 triangle portions. And they're lovely, and they look fancy, right? When they're triangles, it's, you know, you think about biscuits and they get dropped and they're little kind of balls on your plate or something, and it doesn't look, it looks homemade, it looks like somebody in a hurry. It looks like Bisquick, okay? So we don't want it to. We've just worked relatively hard. We want them to look like that. We want them to look like a big deal. I'm not ready to put these in the oven yet, so for now, we'll just put them on this plate, and you can see, look how easy they're coming away, right? Look at that, so nice. We can come back when I'm ready to put these in the oven and finish off the stew. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, scones on parchment, okay, because it's just gonna make your life easier later. You can butter your pan if you want to. Parchment's gonna make things easy. I've got the oven at 375, and I'm gonna pop these in. They're gonna take about 12 minutes, okay? So just 375, set your timer for 12 minutes. They could take up to 15 depending on your oven. In they go. They look great. And at this point, we're going to finish off our stew. And then everything will be ready at the same time. I'm gonna put that right there. We don't need it anymore. At this point, we're happy to let it evaporate a little bit, okay, because we're looking to thicken it up. I've got 1 cup of frozen corn here that I'm going to add to my pot, and in the recipe, and I do prefer to add either frozen green beans or frozen peas even, but I didn't have it. I had that corn in the freezer. I'm not going to like go out and spend money just for the sake of it, okay? But add something in there. If you've got frozen mixed, throw that in, okay, whatever you've got. Just push that corn through. You can see this is coming along great. Stab your carrots and potatoes. Make sure they're getting fork tender. You don't want them to be mushy, just getting that way. 1 cup of milk or cream. You know what, if you use cream, the flavor is going to be amazing. If you don't want to go to the expensive cream and you have milk, use milk. So in she goes. Just pour it in and stir as you pour. I'm going to leave a little bit of milk. I was looking to finish off the bag of milk in the pitcher side, closer to 1.5. I'm just going to leave a little bit there because if we decide we need to thicken the stew more, I can make a slurry using this bit of milk. And similarly, if you had a little bit of broth left over or something, you can keep it and then you can use that. So this, I'm just making sure it's all mixed in, and I'll go another tiny bit. Set that to the side. Leave the lid off now, and we're going to go for about 10 minutes, letting it simmer away. Just before we take those out, we'll have a peek and see if we think we need to thicken it up further. We can walk away again for now because I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, everything's ready. Timer just went. Let's have a, oh, beautiful. You are going to be, you are heading to the kitchen right now to make these. I know you are. Because you saw how easy it is and absolutely beautiful. Come on, where do you get ones like this? Your own kitchen. Quit giving people your money on things like this. Quit letting food eat up all your time and money. That was easy peasy, and they're beautiful. I'm going to shut this oven off. There we go. The stew is also done. Ouch, that was a long way down. Okay, this, here we go. Our stew is looking great. Give it a little bit of a push. You can look at all the chicken in there. And don't forget, that was $5. $5, right? What do you buy for $5? Nothing. Barely get a coffee. This is enough stew easily for 4 people. And we've got barely anything in there. This is a meal that just keeps on giving. Go ahead and invite some company over, right? This is a company dinner. This is a great meal to put out when somebody's coming. Let's plate it up and see how nice it looks. Let's grab this ladle, get some stew in a bowl. This looks good. And I'm just gonna look at that. Oh, this looks great, you guys. This looks so nice. I'm so happy to be back. It kind of felt weird, right? Because we were away for a couple of weeks, and I'd look at the flyers to see what sales there were, and then I think, oh, I don't need to. So that was a little strange. Let's pick out some beauties here. So let's do that. You need to. You need to. And I've got the butter ready, right? Shall we split one? Should we split one on camera to see how nice it looks on the inside? Let's do it. Let's do it. So split it like that. And oh my goodness. Let's put the butter on. Let's not wait. Whoops. It was falling off the knife because it was so warm from slicing. Don't mind my fingers. Okay, look at this. This is gorgeous. We've got beautiful chives, scones, chicken stew, potatoes, carrots, corn, all sorts of beautiful things in there. This looks like a beautiful meal. Again, came together for under $10, and some of this stuff you probably already have. Gorgeous. Get into No Frills, get those chickens, get some, put in the freezer, okay? You can't go wrong with that. I know I said before I did the chicken in the crock pot, just to be clear, 6 hours on low. Cooks up beautifully. Next Wednesday, the 12th, for the sales, get in there. Please, if you enjoy this recipe, if you make this recipe and enjoy it, like the video, okay? Hit like on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the Westminster Orangeville channel, and hit the little bell and get those notifications when new videos come out each week. Keep your compost, it's coming, it's going in the garden, okay? Spring is not that far off, and it's going in the garden and coming back as beautiful food. Tune in next week, we'll be back doing another good recipe, maybe it'll be warmer and we won't care about stew so much. Take good care, I'll see you in a week. Quit letting food eat up all your time.